IRC D&D number 10. It's come again. All right, hold on 1 second.
That almost didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, look at this dog. Yeah, Puppy is, I don't know, Mila is a cutie, but Puppy is like the fan favorite for everybody.
Yeah, he's got that ugly, lovable thing going on.
But I can't set the topic of my own fucking channel? What is this? All right, hold on.
Did everyone talk once? Just want to check.
Yep.
I'm a gay man.
Me too.
All right. So I'm setting the topic. This is IRC D&D, episode 10, The Quest for Purity. And I only link it in a few channels. I link it in Not Math, in LRH, in Pound Llamas on Liberia. Oh, they just kicked anal bleeding from fucking Pound Llamas on Liberia. It's a goddamn shame. They're racist. All right, and let me just let the JRE Discord know that we're doing.
Let me get that link and I'm
this
gonna
shit right
post
here.
it.
And yeah, it's in Pound LRH, and I guess I'll throw it in our Discord too. Because why not? But yeah, those are the only people that I should really get on like some D&D server or something like that. Maybe if we do another D&D adventure. But this one is just. Let's see. Wait, where's my primary channel? Oh, it does that shit where yeah, it just fucking hides the whole thing. All right, so IRC D&D Adventure number 10 has begun. All right, yes, hello everybody. I'm Zach ZYZ. We're hosting IRC users. IRC is Internet Relay Chat. All of us have been tremendous nerds for 20 or 30 years doing this right here. So let me introduce our intrepid adventurers, starting from the top left and working around the clock. We have Angie, the ranger, slayer of many demon gulls and so forth. Then we have Kuntz, our mage, bearer of the enchanted hammer and golden crotch goblet. And then at the bottom right, we have Zartet, our druid and master archivist. And then at the bottom left, we have Logic, the demon slayer, our thief. So yeah, thank you everybody to join in on this. If you want to hear about the story thus far, you can go on this YouTube channel and go back to all the adventures that we've had so far. This is our 10th one, and these guys have started as shipwreck refugees, washed ashore as lowly first-level neophytes, and now they've made it all the way to level 6 as of this adventure. Zartet has been keeping a careful record of our various adventures and setbacks and so forth, and he's going to tell us how our last session went, if you will.
For sure. So previous to last session, we had just met Visanthus the Winged, and he had given us 4 rings of protection against the blight that we had been seeing. He also encouraged us to possibly seek out some other druids to find out what's going on in the Deremaeus. Last session, after meeting with Visanthus, we stayed the night in the caves once again. And overnight, Zartet had a dream. In the dream, there's a silver star in the south, and that he was alone and following it. A bird's claw sticks up out of the earth with talons pointing towards the river. A winged shadow falls over him, but he can't run from it. And finally, a glint of silver shine beneath a barrow mound, and he awakes. Kunz dreamed as well of a man with no eyes looking for him as he ran around the wasteland trying to escape. In the morning, Zartet advises them what Visanthus told him about the Deremaeus and presents them with the wood rings that the Winged One created, telling them that this will protect us from the blight. We head out southeast towards Warbrink early in the day, trying to avoid the red rain. More demon gulls are seen overhead, but they don't seem to be bothered by us. The land is desolate and quiet. Midway through the day, we traveled about 5 miles and saw clouds on the horizon. However, there's a weird hum across the region, and everything seems to be teeming with an unnerving lichen-type mass. Fields are overwhelmed with it, and black streaks go through its mass that we had never seen before. A metallic tang hangs in the air. In the sky, there's a silver star that should not be shining during the day in the south. It's the Laughing Star, also known as the Wandering or Gypsy Star. Ships set their way to this star, and the god of lost travelers, wanderers, minstrels, and prostitutes, who their star represents, has long stopped answering prayers. Vorbrink is on our horizon, and we come across a spot in the road where it's been overcome with the tendrils from this blight. We move forward to investigate and see a dead man in the road that has been skewered and overrun by the tendrils. Logic hurls some stones at the tendrils and crystalline shards flake off. We decide to give wide berth instead and continue on towards Vorbrink. At this point, we're about 3 miles from the city and come across a shallow stream that is wadable and has a burned bridge over it. A sign is in the road, but where it points is in disarray. There are 3 placards reading in Aaronic, Vorbrink, Blackrock, and Cyrodiil. This is the bird's talon from Zartet's dream he recognizes. The stream has a reddish tinge, but is a lot clearer than we've seen. There are salamanders in the mud, but they do not seem to be mutated or touched by the blight. It seems that further south along this stream, the earth may not be affected by it. Zartet again recalls his dream from earlier in the morning and says the party should follow the stream south. Logic and Angie scout ahead. Angie knows this to be the Firebelly River, where bootleggers once camped. She recalls the legend of Unarigan, who was a scallywag and killed some people through trapping them as they tried to raid his stills. At this, Logic notices a pit trap ahead and warns the party. Zartet notices as well that some force is combating the blight here, and he could see a gray dust where blight used to be instead. We come across a blown-up still and its ruins along a small waterfall, and is covered with old dried blood. Angie and Logic call out for Unarigan, but there is no answer. At this moment, a shadow flying in the sky takes note of the calls to Unarigan. It's the Batman from Blackrock. Logic and Angie take higher ground, and Zartet and Kuntz stay low as they prepared for battle. Zartet said a prayer. Kuntz loses footing on what seems to be a false rock as the Batman circles closer. This is clearly a demon with horns and is casting some kind of spell. It swoops down close to Angie and Logic within 100 yards. Angie takes a shot with her bow, but the arrow misses. The bat demon fires off a large purple fireball, which Logic dodges, but Angie does not. She is hurt badly and caught on fire. She runs towards the stream to put herself out, but the purple flames are not extinguishing. Zartet creeps up the side of the waterfall's mesa, casts Shillelagh on his spear, and makes a sneak attack on the demon. The 12-foot-tall demon whips around at this point, and its wings knock the spear from his hands. Kuntz is coming up from behind Zartet, and the demon sees this. The demon mesmerizes Kuntz with mind control, and while occupied with that, takes a massive blow from Zartet's spear that he was able to recover. He's hit in the gut. The spell ends on Kuntz at this. Logic creeps up behind the demon with his dagger and also strikes a massive blow into the back of the demon. The demon hardens into brass, bursts into flames, and completely disintegrates. Kuntz recognizes this as a low-level demon, and he notes that this is something he might be able to summon in the future. The flames engulfing Angie also end. With the demon vanquished, we go to investigate the false rocks that Kuntz had found earlier. Behind the false rocks is a wooden door to what we think is Unarigan's lair. Logic knocks, but no answer. Kuntz starts waylaying the door with his hammer, but disrupts a rock trap from which Logic pulls him away from. Eventually, the door opens into what looks like a mudroom. Logic steps through the door and is pelted with crossbow bolts as he triggers a trap. With the trap triggered, we follow through into the mudroom and light a lantern that is in the room. Logic takes a boot and continues to scout ahead for traps and does come across more of them. Still no Unarigan, even though we call for him some more. We continue forward through the tunnels of the caverns and come across his living quarters and supplies after maneuvering through more traps. In the bedroom, Logic comes across the body of Unarigan, who was stymied by his own traps. In the bedroom, there is a door to another antechamber, and Kuntz, with his hammer, knocks the lock off a heavily barred door. Through the door is Unarigan's treasure room. In the room was a strong box on the table, a suit of chainmail, a tooled bow of ebony wood and arrows, a fencing sword, and several bars of iron. Zartet urges Logic to use the silver key from the bottle of brandy on the box, and the box falls open. There are love letters written in Yarly on top, as well as 150 pieces of gold, 60 pieces of silver, and 3 cut rubies. Angie takes the chainmail and the new bow. Her old bow goes to Kuntz. Logic takes Shenarigan's crossbow. The love letters are between Ant, which was a pet name for Yanarigan, and Anara, and they seem to have had some kind of affair. In one of the letters, Kuntz notes that the last letter says, "You'll always have my heart. It's at the bottom of what's dearest to me." Angie figures out what he was talking about. He was talking about the strongbow box itself, and finds a false bottom. In the compartment is a fire opal engagement ring. We pile all the loot into a pillow case that Zartet is carrying. On Unarigan, Logic finds a brass flower amulet on a thong around his neck. We take extra oil and lamps, 3 days of food each, as well as some bandages. And that is where we were.
Okay. Well, the party has completely healed up, and everybody has had a chance to rest and reflect on their experiences and grow more powerful after braving the lair of Yanarigan. And just a slight correction to the archivist record there. Yanarigan was actually slain by an explosion of a still, and about half of his body is badly burned and riddled with pieces of copper shrapnel. So he
So he was hurt by the still and
Yeah.
came down to his lair.
It looks like he bled out, kind of scraping at the door of his own home, trying to get back in, where no doubt he would have been slain by the numerous traps within. But yeah, so he did not die by his own hand, but through the capricious explosions of moonshine still, and who among us has not done that at some point in our lives? All right, so to give you an idea of what's happening here, so you took a day to rest and recover after the serious injuries that you suffered along the way, and you try to get a start early in the morning today, keeping a careful eye on the sky, as the lot of your party is very desirous of not getting caught in the mutating red rains. Fortunately, today the skies look clear. There are no crimson clouds, and the morning is still much stiller than it ought to be. Even here, most of the creatures that you would normally hear, the crying of birds, the chirping of crickets, the humming of insects, it's all gone and missing. But as you scout around and get closer to the river, it's almost as if things are coming back into focus, and you start to hear more sounds of wildlife and song. As Zartet, as a druid, you find yourself drawn towards these areas where the blight is not spread. You feel a calmness, and it just reminds you of how out of place everything else is, just how badly the land has been damaged by whatever has happened at the Darameus. Let's see. So Angie, early in the morning, you and Logic scout around to make sure that nobody has crept up to Yanarigan's lair, and you find no sign that anybody has been near, and in fact there aren't even the tracks of wildlife that you would normally expect around here. You climb up to the top of the rocks to take another look at the site of the demon's demise, and so Logic can relive his greatest victory once again as part of the scouting there. And you find no signs of any demons or any strange creatures landing or anything like that. Here at the top, the river is almost completely pure. The water is clean and clear, and you can see small fish swimming in it. It's a sight for sore eyes, especially after so much horror. So from here, you can see to the west and slightly, or to the east and slightly to the north, the walls of the town of Vorabrink. And here and there, you can see plumes of smoke rising from Vorabrink, but not the huge plumes that you would see if a city was entirely on flames, but more just it looks like long smoldering fires, or possibly there are encampments within. You can't really tell from here. You're about 3 miles away there. So that is the situation now, and you guys can decide. Options that you have are you could retreat back to the west, to the burned town of the Black Rock Stockade. You could go towards Vorabrink. You could try to avoid the city and walk around it and head directly to the Darameus, bypassing Vorabrink entirely. Or you can continue to investigate the river and try to find out why it's untouched in a realm where so much is touched.
Well,
Or just to clarify also, these are just suggestions from me. You really can do anything that you would like.
Anything our hearts desire. What does the activity out of the front gate or any of the gates look like at Warbrink?
Right now, so you're 3 miles out, and too distant to see any signs of people traveling or anything like that.
Are there any large flaming bats flying over it?
So right now, you have been paying a lot of attention to what's in the sky. There have been so many bird attacks that all of you just have a second sense that you're always keeping an eye on what's up there. And so far this morning, you've seen like some distant flights of birds that are too large. You're also keeping an eye out for potentially druids or more demons. And so far the morning seems unusually quiet.
So we can continue to scout the river, but we have all this money too, which I don't want to be carrying for too long in case of, highwaymen or whatever, robbers on the road here. So let's not let it burn a hole in our pocket and maybe try to equip ourselves with some better equipment, perhaps. I know Angie has the chainmail now, but also maybe try to find some people that could help us in the Darameus. That's not just the four of us. Whether it's through advice or
along the way, it has become clear to you all that Vorabrink has likely been destroyed. Just the number of refugees that you've seen and so forth. You were heading towards it because it's on the way to the Darameus and to find out more about what's going on. But just the stories that you heard from the people at the Black Rock Stockade and also from the people who were in the Copper Lizard Canyons and the Honeycomb Caves, it's clear at this point that, and from what you've seen with your own eyes getting closer, you do not expect there to be a functioning society in Vorabrink. Most likely, everything has been ravaged, everything has been destroyed, and there may be prime opportunities for looting. But I would also expect there to be significant danger in the cave, and I'm only interceding here because it like your characters would know this over the course of the adventure here.
Okay.
I think before we leave the
Ness.
cave, I'm gonna take at least as much gold as I can reasonably carry. Like not an obscene amount of gold, but like I'm also not gonna leave it all behind. I can't remember how much gold and silver there was though.
There was like 150 gold, and I think we split it, 4 ways. Like it's
we
only
could split it,
like
or we
pocket
could just
change, basically.
Yeah, we could split it, or we could just
Even
hold it as
even
party
250.
funds.
Yeah, exactly. Even 250 gold is not a
I'll
shitload
take
of money.
my-
It's not that heavy.
I'll
You wanna
my
take your
quarter of
cut?
gold. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you split up the gold amongst yourselves. Gold is so valuable that relative to its weight, you would always carry it unless it's just impossible. Like unless there's like a dragon's horde of different stuff. So anytime that you guys encounter gold, I'm assuming that you take it.
And just out of character knowledge, maybe that's not great, but I mean, you say opportunities for looting, but I mean, if it truly has been invaded and occupied, like everything's going to be gone.
Well, as a thief, like one of the things that you know is that people squirrel things away in cities. People hide things in the basement. People make false floors, especially in a time when central banking is not really so much of a factor. People tend to bury their money. People tend to hide away their treasures. And in the chaos of a city being looted and burned, And keep in mind that the forces that are attacking Vorobrink aren't typical raiders, right? It's not like you have highwaymen or Mongols or whatever descending on the city. They're mostly, these are going to be people who are looking for things to eat and abominations. So that's just to give you an idea of what to expect. I didn't want you guys to march all the way to Vorobrink and then be like surprised when everyone is dead, because that's probably what the case is here.
Well, basically, we should head to Vorobrink just to confirm what happened, and since it's on the way
that's what I was
to
going to
Daramaze, we should just go to Daramalis. We should just, like, if Vorobrink looks dangerous, go around it and just head to Daramalis.
Vorobrink is extremely dangerous, from what you've heard.
I kind of want to go with Zartet and see why the river's clean.
Yeah, I
you know
want
what I
to
mean?
investigate that.
And the river is going more inland, right? It's not going towards the sea.
So
are we
this
going-
river seems to be headed towards the south. Hold on just one moment.
Away from the Daramaeus.
It is kind of, the opposite way of the Daramaeus, but if it has critical information,
Okay.
Right.
to me that would be a worthwhile
all right,
detour.
Sorry about that. I just had to answer that momentarily. So this river tends to bend towards the south, and you all have like a pretty good idea of where it. You know that this river goes southwest and runs through the hills, and at some point in sort of these rising hills, there is a lake where not a lot of people go there. Sometimes people will take spiritual retreats there and go there to pray, or go there to fish for a particularly elusive kind of mountain bass. But essentially, the river springs from higher in the hills, where all the rainfall falls, and then it forks about halfway down towards the southern sea. And towards the southern sea, there are a lot of jungles and a lot of people who fish along the coast and so forth. It's unclear whether the blight has spread down that way. Just a lot of the people that are in that area are fairly tribal and relatively territorial, and they don't generally take kindly to outsiders.
So this would be Saradil.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like a druid can have some in-ways with these kinds of people. Do I know any Saradilians?
You've never been down that far in
Okay.
all of your travels throughout the land. Yeah, generally, tropical climates aren't really what you focused your time on, as far as I know there. One thing you do know as a druid is that the people of Saradil tend to be pretty fierce warriors for the most part, and some of their strongest warriors will ride to battle on the backs of giant crocodiles.
Sweet.
Nice.
Are they considered Westmorian at all?
No, they actually hate the Westmorians and will frequently raid. They'll take their canoes like sort of along. So the Southern Sea is extremely choppy and difficult to navigate. It's very rare that you'll see any kind of ocean-going boat or sea-going boat on it. So these guys mainly function with outrigger canoes, and they'll go on raids against the Westmorian and steal their livestock and women and bring them back to Cyrodiil. The Westmorians regard them as kind of a menace.
Well, I wonder if they have a shaman or something like that could tell us about how they're keeping this blight at bay. Because I did note that I saw some of the blight had actually been vanquished, and there was like a gray powder left behind. Or a gray substance. What was that, a high noon or a...
It was a high noon.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Oh, no.
I was not
Yeah, they're
prepared for that.
disgusting. Thanks, Black Man.
I was not prepared for how bad it really is.
How can they be that bad? It's just like fucking
I
grain
apologize
alcohol
for
and
interjecting.
seltzer. Yeah.
It's fucking so bad.
Why don't you just drink Everclear? Fuck it.
Oh, oh.
So yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile, like seeing if they have some kind of shaman or something that I could chop it up with. You were
Yeah, I like
saying,
that idea.
what what about Kuntz and Angie? What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I'm down for it.
I mean, we're headed away from the Darameus, but I just think we need
Okay.
like one last thing. I think we're missing a piece. I feel.
Yeah. So the four of you decide to discover the source of the pure water and hope that it has some clue as to what could potentially ease the blight, or some clues as to its context. So it is a hard morning of climbing and following along the river. But it's also a relaxing morning in that for once you're starting to see green again instead of areas of blighted red and just like crawling tendrils and so forth. So, and one thing that you notice is that there are not a lot of signs of people coming through this area. Zartet, you know that one of the reasons for this is that the forest that runs. So essentially, this area of Fire Belly River, sort of to the east of it, is a forest that is particularly known for being full of poisonous plants. Even before the coming of the blight, there is a particular ivy that runs there that if you get too much of it on your skin, you'll almost absolutely die. It's one of the more painful ways to die on the Isle of Moria. And only the truly desperate and the very skilled woodsmen are able to pass through there with any hope of survival. So that's called the Ivy Wood. And so it runs sort of along this area of the river and really keeps a lot of people from Vorabrink from ever exploring this way. And then the various traps and bandits and so forth do a lot to discourage others here. So what that leads to is relatively close to Vorabrink is more or less an untouched wilderness. So as you're walking for the rest of the day, you keep your eyes on the sky, but you don't see any more mutated gulls. Twice you see a pair of eagles flying together, but they don't really seem to pay you any mind. They do seem to be keeping an eye on you, but you don't see any signs of corruption or strangeness or anything there. You follow the river for some time, and in a few places you can see spots where it looks like some of that red rain has fallen, but just as it was before, you can see that it's become gray and eradicated, and you can see new shoots of green growing back in anywhere where the red rain has fallen there. And it seems like the natural order is overcoming the blight in this particular area only, but not so much elsewhere. You continue climbing throughout the day and get higher and... Sorry.
Can I try to investigate this gray dust at all?
Mm-hmm.
Just to get a closer look and see.
Sure. There's a patch of it not too far ahead of you. So you can see an area where red rain has fallen and it has killed what looks like a yellow oak tree. These are trees that just abund with acorns there, and they're known for having like a particularly yellowish wood that's good for whittling or carving and so forth. Not so good for building a house. But there are acorns aplenty, and as such, the woods here run rife with squirrels going in every direction. So what you see is an ancient yellow oak tree that apparently was killed by the red rain. All of its leaves have fallen, and red rain has killed all of the underbrush and so forth there. But instead of continuing to grow and spread to the surrounding area, you can see still some pools of this red viscous liquid where it's gathered around the dead tree. But increasingly, you can see that it's become gray and powdery towards the edge, and that new plant life is encroaching, almost the same way that plants start to spring up after a forest fire. And
Yeah,
you
I
would
was thinking,
assume,
is it like ash, or is it like the silver powder that we have a sachet of somewhere?
no. So the silver powder is extremely distinct. It's almost like nothing else. And anybody who's ever been treated by it has a very adverse reaction to it. You will never forget that scent ever. So when you go over this, the gray powder, it's sort of light and crumbly, almost like a confectioner's sugar, right? Or like a coarser, like fine-grained sugar there.
Hmm.
And it's gray. Your skin crawls at the touch of it. Like if you bend to like rub it between two fingers, it's not a good feeling. It almost feels like the dust is somewhat cancerous there, and you feel a little tainted by its touch, and soon like wash off your hand. It's not something.
Can
that
we
you want on you.
perhaps take some of this gray powder and fling it onto some of the red
Yeah,
stuff?
you could try that. I will tell you that you can tell right away this is not something that you want to have on your hands, but you can like try to like scoop some up with a flat rock
With a leaf or
some other
something.
implement. Yeah, you can rig something up. Yeah, so deeper into the clearing, you can find that there's the red still active fluid. You shovel a little of the gray dust onto it. It seems to have no real effect. The red fluid sort of absorbs and almost eats the gray dust, and then becomes glistening and red again. So one thing about the red rain, you notice that it's always in some kind of a movement, quivering when it shouldn't be quivering, almost as if it's a living thing. And you're careful not to get any of it on you, because it seems to like shoot out little tendrils if it detects movement close to it.
Okay.
Okay. My my curiosity is satisfied. We can continue on.
Okay. Yeah, you investigate, but don't really find a way to deal with the red fluid. You could experiment further later on if anything comes to mind, like you have a specific thing that you want to try out against it. Because this is one of the areas where it's relatively isolated. Generally, in other areas that you've come by, like where there's red rain has fallen or whatever, there's more of it, and there's significant mutation. You'll see like rat people attacking you, or demon gulls and craziness. But here in isolation, you have a chance to like stop and see what's happening. So you move a little deeper up the river and come to the Twin Fork. This is the spot where the river crashes against a big granite, sort of almost like a triangular pillar of granite that is famous enough that like you've all heard of Triangle Rock. And here is where it splits into two rivers, one that flows north and one that flows to the south. And if you follow the like Firebelly River, so it's no longer to the south, it's not Firebelly River, but it's known as Metris River. So this is the spot where it splits into two. And if you follow this up to its source, you will get to that crystal lake where the mountain trout swim and where people go on pilgrimages to be healed or freed of their burdens. So you're now kind of at a crossroads here. So far, you've not really seen any other people. You've seen no sign of attacks, and it's just been kind of a walk through the woods here. So you could go further south to Cerrado, or you could try and investigate the source of this river and try to find out if it has the secret of why this area is pure.
What was the name of the other river?
So it's the Metris River that flows towards the south. So this is where Triangle Rock is where it splits into Firebelly and Metris and goes along the south. And the Metris is actually a wider river. Because the land, you've kind of reached almost the high point of the land where it slopes back down. More water flows into the Metris than into Firebelly. So the Metris River is actually big enough that if you had a canoe, you could easily canoe down it and make time down there. But you do not have a boat.
Maybe we go to the village. Try to get a boat. See if we got a canoe.
Well, by the time you get to the village, you'll be downriver.
Oh.
Yeah.
What say you guys?
Yeah, can we? Well,
so as you guys are stopping to watch what's going on, you see the two eagles that have been sort of shadowing you and flying around, and it seems like a mated pair. The two eagles fly overhead of Triangle Rock, and you see them circle around it, and then they fly up the head river towards the Crystal Lake, and then they disappear into the mountains up there.
I think we should.
Do either of does Angie consider that fortuitous? Seeing those eagles do that?
Eagles are good luck in general. They're a fortunate bird.
I like the eagles.
Double the fortune.
Yeah, eagles have been a bird of omen since antiquity. Just out of this game, the Odyssey is just full of eagles getting up to wild stuff right there. They're a bird to observe. Okay, so taking this as a good omen and remembering the bird's claw from Zartet's dream, you follow the source of the Metris, and it doesn't have a name that any of you know, but you follow up that river into the mountains. And along the way, the area becomes very rocky, and you start to see caves and like sort of higher altitude pine trees. And going up into the way, you can hear the cries of animals, some that are alerted by the four of you going up the river. So you follow along the river, keeping a careful guard, and arrive at the Crystal Lake. And it's one of the most beautiful lakes that any of you have ever set eyes on right there. All the more so because of the devastation that you've seen. The lake is just ringed by tall silver pine trees where they have sort of trunks with like a very gray, shiny bark and very dark blue-green needles. And it's a shame that you're so far because it's an excellent wood. Useful for all kinds of construction and so forth. So the lake is roughly circular. And as you arrive, you can see the eagles flying overhead, circling along the lake. And one of them skims low to the lake and pulls up just a huge fish. And the two of them fly off with it there. So really, as you look around, it's the lake is just teeming with fish. Everything here is alive and well. Nothing has been touched in the slightest by the blight. You can't see any sign that the red rain has fallen here anywhere. So circling the lake is a footpath. This lake is only about a mile in diameter, but looking at it, you can see that it's very dark and very deep in the way that sometimes lakes made of craters or deep in the mountains are, where it could go down for quite some distance. Towards the north.
What altitude are we at? Like, have we been climbing quite a bit, or just?
You've been climbing a fair bit here. So you're still obviously below the tree line here, but you're at one of the higher elevations in the island of Moria, right here. This is definitely the highest spot on this range of hills. These aren't true mountains, but about as tall as you can get without being a proper mountain. There.
And is this northeast of Vorabrink?
So right now, you guys are to the west and south of Vorabrink. You've been traveling for most of the day, and you've gone about 10 miles at this point, and gradually climbed up the way. Circling the lake is kind of a footpath that pilgrims will sometimes take, and there are stones along the way where people have set up little carved, there are little wooden and bone statues that have been carved, and as you walk along, you can see that where they've been set up along the lake, people will carve a number of these statues and set them at 7 stones that are set around the lake, and they'll walk, setting a figure on each of the stones and praying on something that they want to happen. And all the figures are obviously they're very different levels of expertise. Like some are very childish in their execution. Some have obviously been done by people who are master artisans, and they're each one of these stones will have maybe 20 or 30 of these, and some that have been decayed hugely by time, where pilgrims have come and made these statues and walked the circuit and given their prayers. And the only other thing that you can see is there is a path that leads towards the south, almost directly pointed to that shining silver star that shines in the south, even at this hour there. And it leads to a cave that has a archway cut into it there. That you guys are some distance from the cave there. But running from that cave is a stream that feeds into the lake. So there must be a spring or something like that inside of the cave.
Does it look like there's been any recent pilgrim activity on the footpath?
So you don't see anything in the you don't see anything that you would consider foot traffic, but what you do see is a lot of hoof prints from deer, and even some tracks from a bear, though you have not seen a bear anywhere near. Zartet, looking at this, it looks like just a regular bear, not one of these gigantic druidy bears that you've seen.
Can I go make friends with it?
You would have to track it down to try and befriend it, Angie. But that is something that if you want to spend some time tracking down this bear, there are ample tracks. So he's probably at one of the caves around Crystal Lake. But also, in any case, you don't see any sign that anybody has come to this cave for a long time. All the statues that you find have been here for a while. They've been rained on. They've been bleached by the sun. It looks like it's been a while since any pilgrim has made this circuit.
Do we know what? I mean, is it like 7 different gods around this?
These are
this
all
lake.
These are all statuettes of the Laughing Star. These are people who are coming to the Wander Star to ask for her assistance. So the Wander Star looks after travelers, orphans, basically. Her domain is unfortunates and people who can't necessarily help themselves, for the most part, and gamblers and thieves for the most part.
So let me try to maybe. I guess what the idea in my head is this the epicenter of normality? You know what I mean? Can we maybe explore up a little further or out from here to see if this is...
At the lake, all of you feel especially at peace. And here, there's not a sign of the taint. And you almost feel like nothing would dare to profane this area. So you can't tell for certain, but you certainly feel that something in this area is a powerful and driving force for continuity in the natural order.
I love that. Would it be
Hell yeah.
uncouth to try to bathe in this
I was just going to
lake?
suggest trying to catch fish
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what the Eagles did.
You
But
can absolutely. This is none of you are followers of the Laughing Star. This is not a sacred lake to any of you that I'm aware of. There, I don't think the Laughing Star is the type of god that's going to get super upset if you take a bath in a lake. She is, after all, the god of vagrants and fortune tellers.
Right.
And
she hot?
I don't know. Yeah, you'll have to meet her and find out.
Oh.
One day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go like take a
Okay.
dip.
All right.
If
So
you guys want to fish,
Zarta, you take a dip in the Crystal Lake, and you find the water is almost stunningly cold, and the water drops off almost immediately to deeper than your head. It's
Wow.
the cave or the water is very, very deep, like unusually so for a lake right there, and very cold. But as you're taking your dip, though you're eager to be out of there after a little bit, nothing attempts to eat you or anything.
sweet.
Well, there's a spring coming from that cave.
Mhm.
Wait,
Angie, while you were gone, there's a cave
Yeah.
that you said that had a stream coming from it, correct?
So, just sorry to interrupt, but Zartet, after your dip,
No.
as you're emerging, you have a tremendous feeling of calm and well-being that sort of runs over your whole body, and you feel tremendously relaxed. You feel like you can set aside all of the things that were worrying you, and you realize now just how much the destruction of the land has weighed on you and dogged your every waking moment. And here you find a moment of serenity. So for the rest of the day, wherever you find adversity, you will have a slight edge to it because of the serenity that you feel now after bathing in this lake.
Awesome.
Nice.
Wow. I just let everyone know how relaxing that was. I encourage them to give it a shot if they, can't stand their own smell.
The clothes come off and I'm jumping in.
Okay. So you take a bath in the lake. Is anybody else
Yeah, hell
bathing
yeah.
in
Yeah,
the Crystal
I
Lake?
want to do that.
Okay.
I guess we're all bathing.
Yeah, the four of you
Woohoo.
strip off and bathe in the Crystal Lake. And one thing that you notice after you take a very refreshing. So, Angie, you too feel some of the same sense of serenity and closeness with nature that Zartet feels. Logic and Kuntz, you can see them exchanging glances, but whatever is going on for them, it's not quite the same for you. You actually have a feeling of sort of missing out on something that is secret just between the two of them. But one thing that you, Kuntz, notice as you're getting out of the lake is that you had obviously you've been traveling all day and you have like some minor scrapes and cuts. And one that's been bothering you for a little bit is a spot where last night when you went off to take a piss, essentially you cut your foot on a rock while walking barefoot, and it's just like a little wound that's just been kind of bothering you as you're marching all day, and you'd forgotten about it until this moment. It's not the stuff of grand adventures, not something you would even complain about. You just suck up the minor pain and go on. But now, looking at your foot, the spot where it was a relatively deep cut that you had taken time to clean and take care of and so forth, because you don't want it to get infected, it's completely healed over. Your foot is healed. And Logic, as you're looking at your body, like a little scrape that you have on your arm is healed up. And in fact, all of you find that all of your wounds, minor though they are, have all closed up. And as you're noticing this, your eyes are drawn to the star shining in the south, the silver star shining bright in midday.
Oh,
Nice.
God bless the morning star. The laughing
I
star.
was going to take a leak in the lake, but
I already went before I got out.
No, it's a big
yeah.
lick. I don't think it's gonna hurt anybody's
It's a
feelings.
big leak.
I was actually
Well,
only
it's,
standing 3 feet away from Zartet when I went. Sorry, Zartet.
We need to take some of this water
Fine.
with us.
That was exactly what I was thinking. We need to fill up our canteens with this.
Okay. Yeah,
Train.
you absolutely take time to fill your canteens with the water of Crystal Lake, which is clean and pure and stings the tongue.
So,
With this magical
just a
lake,
reminder.
clean Zartet's ring, like his silver ring, of any impurities.
Well, I mean, the ring, it was just a silver ring. It didn't have any like impurities or anything there.
Okay, because like the detect magic spell, or no, the identify magic spell
Next
said
level.
it only works on rings that like aren't impure.
I don't really follow you. There.
Don't worry about it then.
Okay. No worries. Just a second. Okay. Well, you have had a good time at the lake.
This cave.
Yes. The cave, which is a font feeding into the lake.
Kind of font.
Oh, you don't know? It's somewhere deep inside the cave. There's an arch cut into it, but you haven't really gone up to investigate. It's set into the mountains to the south.
What do you guys say we go take a look at that?
Yeah.
Sounds good, partner.
Okay.
I mean,
Sweet.
gotta give thanks here.
Yeah,
that's true.
You approach the cave and find that there is a white stone arch that has been set into the cave, carved from many blocks of marble. And along the way, they're not ornamented or anything, but all over them, you can see where various people have carved words of thanks and devotion and praise in many different languages. Some of these are dialects. A few are obviously from people who are illiterate and just learned how to write this one word. But people have taken time to scratch their initials or little hearts or some kind of message for other people into the cave. And then the inside, it's just natural rock leading back for some time. So do you want to explore this cave further?
I think maybe we should put our mark on one of these stones first.
Yeah.
Good call.
Okay. So
I'm going to carve a dong.
Okay. It would not be the only dong that's been
Right.
carved.
It
here.
is a god of prostitutes and whatnot.
Well, and also
gypsies.
a lot of lowlifes come
The
to this
ultimate
area.
show of respect.
Okay. So, Logic, you spend how long do you want to spend drawing your masterpiece?
Oh, just
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes, I guess,
Okay.
while everybody
So-
else is
you scratch
carving their initials or whatever.
you scratch some anatomy into the thing.
meaty,
It's
veiny
not the
one.
only one, but yeah, way to go. Okay. Meanwhile, would you like to explore the cave further? Okay. And if you do,
yeah,
I need to
I
know
guess.
in what order you're going inside.
Okay. Well, I will be sneaking first, I guess.
Okay. You're going to creep into the Cave of the Laughing
Yeah.
Star.
I don't know. Is that smart, guys? What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of feel like Zartet should go.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
was
that's a good
thinking too.
point.
Maybe I should just
That's a good
kind of
point.
take the lead on this one and
Okay. So yeah, you could either go in cautiously with Logic checking for traps, or you could go in as a token of faith with Zartet walking in full trust of this place. It's up to you.
I'd choose Zartet.
there's light in this cave.
I choose Zartet too.
Yeah, ahead you can see some kind of a light shining.
Is it like a magical
Oh, wow.
light, or is it
You
coming
can't.
from?
It just
some-
it's dim.
It's just
and in the distance
illuminated.
you can't tell. Yeah, but there's light further ahead in the cave.
All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna cast prayer now
Okay.
and just say a prayer to the laughing star, and
Okay. What are you praying
as
for?
we were etching into the stones, I will pray that.
Yeah. What are you praying for in specific, if anything?
Um, just mostly a prayer of thanks to the laughing star, but also, for a guidance and protection going forward into whatever this cave is.
Okay. You issue a sincere prayer and carve your mark into there as a proper show of respect for the Lord of this place. So, taking no precautions and moving with faith, you enter into the cave, setting aside your weaponry and leaving aside your personal items, entering with only the clothes on your back, while the others wait.
They're a locker.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no lockers. So you set all these possessions aside. So the cave is very simple. Deep inside of the cave, there is a big, sort of an open area where light shines through from a rift, and that light falls into an overflowing spring. At the top of the spring, there's a statue of a woman with a serene face and a slight smile. And you know this to be a statue of the laughing star. And she holds one of her palms open, as if just kind of this way, while the other holds a vessel that pours water into the small lake. And the water seems to be pouring from no apparent place that you can see. It's just flowing from the vessel eternally, spilling into the spring. And then the spring spills down and runs in a clear stream all the way down to Crystal Lake there. So it's the silver statue is carved to appear as if, and this is a tall statue too. This is a life-size statue of a woman, carved of, as far as you can see, pure silver. So immensely valuable if anybody was so callow as to take it. But the fact that nobody has done so far says a little bit about the respect that people have for the laughing star. Who did I lose? I guess we lost Logic. Let me see. Is he? Oh, we lost him entirely. His Linux may have crashed.
No.
Okay. Well, let's wait. He was just overcome with the power
The
of the
beauty.
laughing star. All right, so he's coming back right there. Let's give him a second, real quick. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can see his video.
That's what happens when you try to steal that statue.
He was thinking
I
about
was
it.
enraptured. I was enraptured by your description. I'm literally sitting here like,
Okay.
my breath was being taken away, and I don't know
All
what
right.
happened. So,
Um,
but I'm back.
So,
Sorry.
Zartet, you the feeling of peace that you had is magnified in this area, and you know the laughing star to be a force for good upon the Ark, even though the gods that you follow are much older and much more primeval. But here you feel a sense of alliance, and you can feel an almost enticing desire to leave your former life and start to follow in the path of the laughing star. You start to wonder, what would it be like to just wander endlessly, to go on adventures, to help people, to see every corner of the Ark. And all of this is running through your mind. And you realize that some of this is the effect of the laughing star. This is how she draws people to her. They hear sort of her song on the wind and feel compelled to follow her. And you realize that all the healing that's been done to you, the sense of peace and so forth, it's not freely offered. The help that she offers is with a price. And as you understand, as you come to this understanding of the laughing star, the wonder star, the gambler's friend, you notice in the palm of the statue's hand, there is a single silver seed. That's the shape of a sunflower seed held in the palm of her hand. And your eyes are drawn to it because the pillar of light coming from the rift in the ceiling is shining directly at it.
That probably tastes so good.
The cat's anus or the silver seed?
The silver seed.
Okay.
Rude. Okay, that's my call.
Wow.
That's pretty
Yeah, I'm
intense,
just
man.
no. I mean, do I get any sense at all? I mean, you said that there was some sense that this is this gift is not bestowed without a price,
No.
but I
Without a
don't
price
think
or an
there's.
obligation, but you feel certain that your dream led you here, and that this seed is being offered to you if you're
I have
willing to
no
take
indication that there's any kind of sinister plot or kind of ulterior motives to any of this.
it. So your understanding of the many stars of the lake is that nothing that they do is truly free. They always have a motive. They always have a plot. But of late, their power over the Ark has been considerably reduced, and they seldom intervene any longer.
Oh.
They've sort of faded away from the common discourse here. So for the star to appear in the southern sky, and two, for you to feel so strongly drawn to this place, and to have a dream and to see it realized here, you feel that there must be some purpose intended for you. So it's really kind of a deal that you're being offered here. But it's up to you whether or not you want to take the silver seed that is offered.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm feeling mighty up to it, so
Okay.
I'll scale whatever I need to scale to get up to her hand. And
Yeah, like she's it's a life-size thing, so you can walk up
Okay.
there and take the silver seed. And as you take the seed, it feels warm in your hand, even though the statue is of cold metal, and the cave itself, you're at a high altitude and it's cold. You feel like it's warm and almost alive. And as you take it, you feel a sense that this should be planted somewhere important, right? That you've been given not a gift and not a task, but a trust that you will find a place to plant this seed. And with that, you're just left into the tranquility of the Laughing Star's cave. And also in this area, as you're looking around, you can see more of the fetishes that people have left behind. More, like as the light shifts, you can see that everywhere inside the cave, people have carved their prayers and their wishes for people who have passed on. And the whole thing is just filled with writing from all over the Ark. There are many languages that you can't even begin to guess at. But that's all that's really of consequence here is the statue, the writings. You don't see anything else in the cave that's of special note.
lots of people's hopes and dreams here.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's real, man.
All right, I think we got to plant this seed. I think I know where.
In a
I
garden.
think right up the Darameus's ass.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Traveled 500 miles to give you my seed.
Okay.
Yeah. The Laughing Star.
Well,
Very funny.
yeah. By the,
Yes, it is. What a great god.
everything has its price. So as you leave the cavern, you find that the sun is beginning to set. It's been a long day of traveling upriver and so forth, and
Good
the
day.
four of you decide to set up camp and fish at the river, or at the mouth of the river, and see what you can catch. And you're able to land a few of those mountain trout and cook like an appetizing dinner. And this will be the end of your adventure for today, with one small exception. So Angie, all over the place, as you guys have been traveling around and so forth, you have seen signs of a bear that has been all over the place here. And you are now a powerful enough ranger that if you want to try and find an animal companion, you could certainly seek out this bear and see if there's any friendship to be had between the two.
Hell yeah.
Duh.
Okay.
I'm gonna die.
Well, so the offer of friendship is one that you two must make by your lonesome. Right? And bears tend to like do most of their bear type things late at night, and in the dusk and in the dawn. So while the others are setting up camp, you take one of the fish that you've caught as an offering. It's a big, beautiful, iridescent scaled mountain trout that is fat and you know that it's a female and she's just full of roe.
BBW fish?
So it's a female that's full of roe, so that's as close to a BBW as fish get. So you select this and go out hunting for the bear. So this bear has a pretty easy life up here. He's the only bear that lives around this cave, and as you approach, you can see that this is a fairly large bear. What you up to? So its lair is towards the western part there. And as you go around, you can see all the typical signs that a bear has been around. All the bushes have been stripped of berries. There are spots where the bark has been worn off of trees because he's like rubs his back up against them, doing that bear thing and so forth. But it seems like as you're inspecting his tracks to get a feel for this bear, you can see that he spends a lot of his time walking down to the river and just gulping down fish as they leap down and head towards the southern sea to spawn. So you approach the cavern of the bear and hear an ominous groan in the background, and you dare to approach further. You climb deeper and deeper into the cave, and the bear, as you reach inside, the moon is high in the sky, and you're looking in moonlight, and you can see this enormous bear rear up and just growl at you for intruding in his cave late at night. He's trying to sleep. And you know that if you show any fear whatsoever of this bear, he will never respect you because he's a wild creature. And you step deeper and deeper into the cave, bearing your gift of a big old fish, right? And after a bit, the bear starts to wonder, like, why you haven't run off. Like everybody else that he's ever run into has run away, and sniffs the air. And you feel that he's impressed with your courage and also hungry to eat that big-ass fish that you brought. Slowly, snuffling the air, he comes closer and closer to you. And you, in the moonlight, you get a sense for this guy. This is really quite a specimen. It's a big black bear, but he has a silver stripe starting at his snout and running all the way up his back. Right there.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's just like a racing stripe on this guy.
Like a skunk.
Kind of
like
a little bit like a skunk. And in his lair, he is kind of pungent. But as all bears are there. So you are able to befriend this bear. He takes the fish and eats it greedily. And after a little bit, there's nothing left but like a cleanly picked bones, and the bear looks to you, kind of like raising up its head and its ears and growling because he wants more fish. So,
I see.
So you motion back towards the camp where the others are cooking fish and enjoying their dinner and so forth, and the bear follows you. Now that he knows he can get food from you.
Like, yeah, let's go get more fish.
He follows you.
God, what is that?
and you actually have to spend about another hour or two before you're able to go to sleep, just catching more fish for this bear. Everything that you catch, he just gobbles down in a heartbeat. So you guys have made a new friend, and at our next session, you can give this bear a name if you so choose. So you were able to recover a silver seed that was the gift of the laughing star.
Oh,
Check out this bear.
being happy.
It looks so happy.
He's chilling. It's all those fish that he ate there. Yeah.
That's true.
So you've been reminded of what this land once was. A beautiful area full of wonder and enchantment. And you have taken some time away from the blight that has despoiled everything and made a new ally in a big old skunk bear. So, yeah, well done, everybody. And this is just a short little session. We will resume later, but you are now in a much better place to do something about everything that has happened than before. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this short little adventure right here. We do one of these every week. We're now on Tuesdays. So thank you to Angie, Kuntz, Logic, and Zartet, and thank you for watching.